Good evening, everyone. We're thrilled to be here, and we've had some time because of the delay to connect and discuss further on AI and how it's impacting HR. Are you all feeling tired now? It's been a long day, isn't it? So I'll hand it over to Satish to take you through a 30-second intervention.
Thank you.
Great, great.
All right, am I audible, everyone? Yeah. May I request you all to please stand up? I know it's been 8.5 hours of data collection on AI. Since morning, we've been hearing a lot of AI on data. A very small jig, a small stretch. Everyone, put your right hand forward. I'm doing a mirror, so it's left for me. So your right hand forward. John, please, yes. Left hand forward. Palms facing outward, stretch your palm, that's how the stretch. Your right hand crosses over your left hand, club your fist as straight as possible so that it's locked. You cannot do that. That's fine. Make sure your right thumb on top of your left thumb. The right thumb on top of your left thumb. And lock. So the other right thumb. Right thumb on top of your left thumb. Okay? You locked in? All right thumb on top of your left thumb? Because that's what the trick is, yeah? We're going to demystify HI. We're going to talk only AI all this while. We're going to demystify HI. Human intelligence. Do as I do, 1, 2, and 3. Use your GPT and unblock and put your thumbs up. You get it? No? So we're going to demystify exactly this to our excellent moderator out here. Thank you so much. Take a seat, guys.
See, AI, and I'm sure a lot of you will agree, its adoption as a tool is quite staged. Not every organization is using it, especially in human resources, to the same extent. Hence, when you were to look at human resource as a practice within organizations, I've often found that we can divide it into 3 parts, 3 types of organizations. Traditional HR-centric organizations, we can have strategic HR-driven organizations, and finally, we have the Gartners and the Deloittes and the McKinseys of the world, which we call boundaryless, agile HR organizations. Do you agree? Yeah? Okay. So with this, I'll introduce myself. I'm Subhashini, and I'm the co-founder of a company called Pexitics, People Excellence Indicator Analytics. And I'm also an author of 2 books in this space. Yes, Satish is going to.
Okay, quick introduction. Satish Rajaratnam, budding author. Just filed in few patents and a couple of books on AI and its applications. HR turned techie or techie turned HR, either ways. And I'm part of a company called RCG, which is a private equity funded firm.
Glad to be here. Already feel like a toddler listening to both of them. I work with Krafton. We are a leading gaming company. You would have heard of PUBG and BGMI. Those are our IPs. I work with them as their India director, head of people operations, leading the people functions. So all the enabling functions except finance is what I lead. I've been a staunch believer of HR over AI.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Proshanjeet. I am a global CHRO for SRK Consulting Group, which is a part of a $2 billion conglomerate SRK Group that is into diamond jewelry, solar, IT, airline, investment capital, all of that. It's a big group. I head the HR there, and I'm equally enthusiastic to learn from my fellow panelists here and to discuss this on this topic. Thank you.
Great. So how many of you feel that your organization falls into the traditional HR-centric organization, where HR's role is more transactional, less part of the board or enabling decisions for business? So there is a lot of technology that you use to manage people, but you may not really be seeing the advantage of using AI today. Any hands up here now for that? There are multiple organizations which will fall into it, and not all of them are small. So a lot of manufacturing organizations actually fall into this space. The next type of organization, and let's see if you identify with it, is the strategic HR-driven organization, where the HR role is a proactive strategic function. You are involved in workplace planning, employee engagement, aligning HR strategies, and are part of the business discussions. But you are not supposed to be enabling business 24/7. So that stage has not yet come. You're also perhaps supposed to be present in office. So you've still also not reached the stage where, faceless interactions are so common in your organization, especially when it comes to people and talent. So what do you think? Does your organization belong to that category? Anybody here? I'm looking out for, great. So actually 70 to 80% of the organizations fall in this category. And that is the truth, that we are part of setting up of business goals, discussion on how to meet them, but the VP HR salary is substantially less than the CEO's salary or the VP sales salary. Okay, and then of course we have the third type of organization, which is the boundaryless agile HR organization, where HR is a major part of the business, and business decisions related to HR do come out even in your balance sheet, right? So how many of us belong to organizations like that? Of course, the flip is HR has to be present 24/7. People are impatient. They're not going to wait, right? Because they just don't wait for their business superiors to be interacting with them. They are comfortable interacting at any odd hours, and that's one of the USPs. So if you belong to this third type of organization, I'm sure you're using some form of AI. Right? So can we have a hands up for you if you have used AI as part of your work function? What is the thing that you mostly use AI for?
Primarily we use it for talent acquisition.
Great.
A bit of accessibility to HR policy documents.
Fine. So what do you think is the most common part of AI in human resources? Any of you can take it on.
Okay. So I'm going to expand to what our friend just spoke about. AI in recruitment is now becoming like having sugar in coffee for people who take sugar in coffee, right? So it's not become a hygiene, because today everybody talk about profile screening, conversational AI, JD matching, offer rollout, candidate experience. All of these elements has wee bit of AI into it and making life simpler, easier for the recruiting community, right? But we've gone a little ahead. We've started doing forecasting basis, what we call as revenue to resource forecasting, right? If this is my capability pockets that I have, and in the next 3 months to 6 months to 1 year, this is going to be my projected growth on specific clientele that we have, and if they fall under these specific tech archetype, do I have the required skill? 1, to do a backfill, 2, to do an adjacency, train and deploy, or 3, to go ahead and hire from external. So we use this extensively for skill forecasting, resource forecasting, and billability to a large extent as well, right? And again, when we say this, every project roll-off that happens, right? What happens is, you don't have to sit and write a PMS all through end of the year. This information is passed on to the employee, and they get all of these in a synopsis. They lift and shift it, put it as a PDF, and upload it, right? So we use in all walks of life. The next part, if I may take another 10 seconds, is around, I think since morning you've been hearing LMS and all of those. So LXP is a place where we use significantly. Customizing hyper-personalized learning personas for employees, right? If I were to be in a job family of a product engineering group, and I'm, let's say, a engineering manager, if I were to move to an engineering director, how long will it take? What competencies or skills should I pick up? And what level should I pick up? And the entire curation happens through the algorithm as well. So at every part in time, we've started using AI, part of ML, part of all the algos that is possibly out there. You know, kind of quickly sum it up, yeah.
Awesome. Saurabh?
So, I think there have been two parts in my journey. I think when the buzzword AI was not there, I think at one of the organization, which was a consulting and a product organization, I used to lead their global HR, across 2,500 folks. We were pure product guys. We were early adopters of, the entire automation space of HR, and all of that was done in-house, which was of course a mammoth task because there was a lot of resources, effort, development hours which went into that entire process. But that kind of completely transformed the way we came across as a people function. So much so that CMMI version 2.0, we were the 4th company in the world to get recognized for our people practices.
Wow.
In products as well as for our services, which is very, very rare.
Very rare.
And, our HR effectiveness, learning and development became our global strengths which came out of the CMMI process. So those were the early days of, looking at AI when it was not known as AI from a different lens. Second phase obviously was, what Satish mentioned, and we were early adopters of looking at our talent acquisition, our entire skill mapping or succession planning using AI tools. To fast track now with Crafton, we again use a tech-enabled, AI-enabled recruitment tool, which goes beyond just screening, which also looks at interviewing people, giving us qualified first-level candidates. To the second stage where we have offered an enterprise version of ChatGPT to everybody within the organization, and we said, please use it. No restrictions on how do you use it, what you want to do with it, but please make sure you utilize it completely. And we went beyond to track what is the utilization around it, just to make sure that people are using the tool which is available. And we have seen significant results in terms of the productivity also around operational tasks. So I think that's the second spectrum of how we have looked at it from an organization standpoint.
Awesome. I think especially for tech organizations, there's study to say 46% increase in productivity just by using ChatGPT and like GPTs for coding improvement. So that's awesome. Prasanjit?
Okay. So I'll present, I was studying some, I was going through some research study. I'll share you some numbers, I think, because from the morning we've been discussing about AI implementation in the organization. Now, implementation, like in my career, what I've observed, that it's purely based on the industry that you work with, the client that you work with, and the role that it's more of model than role specific, business specific. Now, to put a data in place, Deloitte did a study, they did a survey where they say 63% of the company, this is in 23, say AI adoption is a key priority, but the implementation didn't happen that much because of the lack of skilled workforce and cultural resistance. So there is an issue of cultural sensitivity. IBM did suggest that 120 million workers across the globe and across the world's 12 largest economies, including India, will have a great way of retraining the workforce for the next 3 years due to AI impact of the job roles, where in McKinsey, they said that about 70% of executives rank, okay, upskilling their workforce, they find it challenge in the implementation of the AI in the real, on the ground level, while we are talking on the seminars and the conferences. Very importantly, PwC did a survey, and so do the Harvard Business Review. They said the implementation of AI in an actual world, it happens about 40%, and the utilization and the improvement towards an AI happen about 20%. So what it means is that if you really look at it, while we are trying to adopt AI, the real life implementation on the ground across various roles, be it a engineer or a mechanic or a data or maybe a account executive, the real life implementation at the ground is not happening that the one we are thinking. For example, I can talk about an industry like GCC. Bangalore has the largest chunk of GCCs in India, 80% of the GCC. NASSCOM recently had a report, 1700 GCCs, Bangalore's is contributing 80% of it. And it's becoming a $1 trillion economy as far as GCCs are concerned. In GCC, typically what we do, we are a part of the, we are one of the GCC company. What we do is we work with foreign clients, right? Technology agnostic organization. So in a technology agnostic organization, definitely AI, ML, all these things are very common. But when I talk about one of our entity, which is a manufacturing unit, now there people are working with a not so skilled workforce. I said IT become a privileged workforce, right? Not so privileged workforce. The CHRO there, they can't implement AI at a shop, right? I was hearing another person, Anandji, and he did said that. But then there is a trial and effort to put as much as possible. But it's not completely, it's not possible that you adhere and use and implement the AI the way you have adopted in the technology agnostic organization. So what it means is AI, what I have observed is that AI will definitely help us in content, in policy making, in some strategic decisions for sure, predominantly on the content. But when it comes to actual decision making at a strategic level, when I talk about organization, how you build, scale, and implement the practices of the organization, when it comes to talent retention, management, how you're building the organization, all of that, that's human brain, right? That is at the board level, at a strategy level, at a CHRO or a CFO level, that happen. There, AI can be a content management tool rather than, you are completely dependent on AI. How you are running a company if you are completely dependent on AI? The board doesn't agree. No company. So that's my observation. Thank you.
Great. How many of you think that we need AI in HR? Very honestly. See, we already have ERP systems, Workday, skill first organizations have, say, Tech Wolf and the like. You believe we need AI. For what? For what precisely do you want AI? Which is not inbuilt into some existing ERP system or tool or process.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, and there is a very thin line between what you're wanting to know. See, I think from my perspective, for helping me or enabling me to make decisions, I would love AI to help me with all those data points. At the same time, it should free up the bandwidth of my team to do actually what they're supposed to do, basically be with people. If the routine and the mundane tasks are taken care by a tool, it could be a AI-enabled tool, it could be an automation tool, I'm more than happy, because then my team will be able to do what they're actually supposed to do, is connect with people, talk to people, have conversations, build that entire journey of those people, create that experience. So I would say, I would need AI automation or any kind of tool more to enable me to make decisions. Second, do away with all those operational tasks which can be done by a machine, and then focus on the people aspect of the role. And that is how, we will enable a people-centric organization, because it's easier said than done that, we are a people-centric organization, but the connect itself is missing. And if I have a bot to speak to my employee, then probably, I probably am not passionate about the role I'm playing. So I think that's where I come from, and I have very strong views about that.
Okay.
I'll just add a few points. Let's say you're preparing policies, right? ChatGPT or a generative AI has a lot of millions and billions of data points, right? You just put some prompt, right prompt, of course, and they will create an entire policy for you. Now, we cater to a lot of clients, right? Now, you think instead of putting one guy of policy making, we are saving that cost. So, from a cost perspective also, it is very useful, right? Like, I'll give you an example. I'm a legal advisor, and many time when there are complications, especially when there are misconduct or when there are retrenchment, when there are redundancy, and IT companies are very common on the layoff factors because we work with US counterparts. Now there are many time we, when it comes to policy perspective, what your, Industrial Dispute Act, etc., says, AI can properly put a pointer what you're going to a legal consultant and asking. So you're saving that cost, being a CHRO, to go to a legal consultant and ask you draft a policy because there is a layoff upcoming. But what AI can't do, so do your legal consultant. How you are handling that person? How you are handling a crowd when you are getting into that layoff mode or a retrenchment mode? Policy is not life, right? So that's where. So then it comes human angle. How you are counseling people, you are ensuring every one of them get a right job at the place. You are ensuring, your company's brand name doesn't go for a toss because there is an impact on the project, and that is out of your control because your industry is such. So that comes a lot of human angle which AI cannot predict or implement or help.
Satish,
These are the two ways. Yeah, you can add on.
Yeah, so I'm going to add on to what Prashanjit just said. Two things, right? One, I'm not sure how many of you guys have heard RAG, which is Retrievable Augmented Generative AI, which is going to sit on top of the large language model that the Prashanjit just spoke about. That would mean you not only get public data and analyze and get a policy document, but what it will do when you run a RAG algorithm on top of your LLM, sorry guys, a lot of jargons that I'm throwing out, but it fetches information from your own practices and policies that you've already had and done and executed. It'll try and match and say whether you're closer, far, or these are new or not new. That would mean it's going to make the policymaker's life much simpler and easier, saying, this is a generic market policy, this is what your firm has followed in the previous past, and hence the new one should be this. Yeah. Again, it's to what he said, it's an information, it gives you data to get into decision. At the end of the day, it's up to you and your CXO to decide, should we do or should we not do. Yeah, that's one part. The second part on your first question, another 30 seconds on that, is about, what if I'm going to tell you my applied to screen has come down to 2 hours only. Thousands of profiles. I post 100 jobs today. Applications are pouring in. From application stage to a screen select stage is only 2 hours. That's thanks to the AI algorithm that we have, the conversational AI. It does call the caller. You don't need a sourcing guy or a recruiter guy to call and find out, are you available? Are you open? This is the cost. What have you done? Can you reiterate what you've done in your project? All these are done by a voice. The best part of this is that is also proctored. It is done using an audio and a video proctoring. Plus, it gives a whiteboarding. For example, let's say you're interviewing someone for a GCC, a banking GCC, a fintech, right? The guy would have put in saying, I've worked on a KYC, I know how I can onboard, I've done it using microservices in Java. It'll ask questions saying, can you code and show this to me? Can you write a if then else coding? Yeah? In about 10 minutes, right, the bot determines not the decision, but determines whether this guy is good in front end, good in back end, good in Java, good in Python, good in R, where it is. It does not take a decision saying go, no go, but it says what is the strength of this candidate, right? By this means, the bot keeps calling simultaneously thousands of people. Yeah, so that reduces to 2 hours of screening time. What if I'm going to say the select to offer has come down to less than 48 hours? That's the speed at which the algorithm that we've implemented has helped us, right? It used to be a 12, 13-day process, approvals, budget approvals, your delivery manager, vertical manager, all the managers have to approve. All those are done out, yeah? It's all as simple as it could get, right? It's come down to 2 days. Think about it. If I were to push a course for someone to learn part of a curricula, it is just VB of a button, right? I go back and click on my profile. It says, hey, I've done HR, I've done whatever number of years, and hence this is your competency, this should be your proficiency level. Can you take an adaptive assessment? I go click on the button, I take an adaptive assessment. It will say, basis your assessment, You're not a 5, you're a 4 because that's what your proficiency says. For you to move from a 4 to 5, these are your proposed learning curriculum. That is done. You don't need to do a traditional training needs analysis. Sit with your large business unit, understand what do you want to build, how do you want to build, right? All those conversations are squeezed in by the hyper-personalized AI algorithm that we have as well. So there are multiple such use cases where AI saves a lot of time and effort, again, in aiding decision for HR to make a very informed decision, right? It's not about AI takes a decision, but it's going to help HR or anybody take a decision.
Great. Now, how many people in the audience feel they would want to shortlist a candidate in 48 hours? Do you think it's a business need for you? It is. For him it is. For you it is. But I can see 80% of you are not raising your hands. So for you, for the 80%, this is not a need. Right? So what I guess is coming out is that you will have to figure out if AI is a need and in which area. And then only then would it make sense to invest in AI. Because all this cost saving, I have found that AI is an expensive proposition. You know, Google has 40% or 48% increase in electricity, you know, and they are not meeting the sustainability goals of last year because of the amount they have spent trying to develop AI algorithms. So the world and the climate and everything is paying a cost. So what is your thought? Is AI and digital tech the only way to work in human resources? What is your way? Or do you think, you know, it should be put in some places, a process put, and then it can be taken out and plugged into other places? Reusable.
A lighter answer to that is go by the CFO. Like I said, whatever AI, whatever technology, it could also be a simple RPA using Blue Prism. Any transformation, any digital shift that you do from being a simple VBA macro into putting onto a very simple, let's say a HRIS, not even HCM. All of these, if these does not have, like you rightly said, a business case, and if you go back to your CFO and say, I'm doing this, but nothing is going to change from a productivity, efficiency, and output perspective, from a client perspective, one, from a top line and bottom line perspective, two, then I don't think so we should even venture into it. If things are good the way that it is today, please continue. But should there be a speed, should there be a growth, should there be a necessity, do a simple, you know, drawing on the board, go by the design thinking principle, pick up specific use cases, get into solutioning, do an EVP, check if that's helping you or not, then broad basis. I mean, that's the way that we do simple jump on.
Awesome.
I think for me, it is HR powered AI. So that is how I look at it. I would not want to look at cost reduction from a headcount standpoint within my own team because AI has powered my team. I would want to make sure I utilize the right skills of my team members and myself to do what we are supposed to do. So I don't want to look at it as a cost optimization methodology. Chalo, you know, let me reduce 2 headcounts in my team and give that back to the CFO. Definitely not. But firm believer that whatever can be automated should be automated. But where there's a human intervention required, and you know, I humbly disagree to what you know Satish was mentioning about a bot calling a candidate. Of course, need basis, if you have to screen thousands of candidates in 48 hours, you have to do it. But you know, for a product organization like us, you know, I would want my recruiter to give the first call because that connect is extremely important. And I think that is one of the strong reasons why we at Crafton, we have absolutely zilch attrition and we have a 100% offer to joining ratio.
Wow. Right. So what's the business case that you wish to think about as you adopt AI? You know, that's a big thought. Great, Prasanjit.
Yeah, so I heard both the viewpoints. So 2 pieces of from my thought is one is that how are you using it? Like I said, what is your relevant to the company? Let's say talent acquisition, taking Saurav's input, let's say a chat GPT or any generative area, AI can immediately, you know, create within few seconds, a job descriptions, right? Immediately, it will help, you know, work feasible. It will reduce the time and effort that you are putting in, which will improvise your productivity. and it is pretty obvious it is doing it. Now, there are a lot of free AI tool, okay? If you go to my GPTs, you see, I was exploring it, okay? And 25, I am not that techie guy, okay? But I was exploring it, and there are so many AI tool. You can create PDF, Copilot for that matter, you can do an entire presentation. Now you think of it, if you're using that, which you already have an Office 365 for most of our companies, you're using that which is a free tool, which you're already subscription for it, you are creating presentation, you are creating job description, you are creating policies, which is primarily content driven, okay? Which is also helping reducing the time and effort of your man hour, what you are putting. So if you do a, hypothesis, if you do an apple to apple comparison, you will see, okay, 8 hours of job into the revenue, 3 hours of job into the productivity. I sent it to the client pay me this many of dollar. Now I'm utilizing it and I'm earning revenue. Today, HR is not a cost center, it is a revenue center, right? GCC is the example of it. Many of you are already doing it. Now, having said that, it has to be relevant to the business, but adoption of the technology, there is no way, there is no comparison. We have to adopt technology. We have to adopt AI. There are certain intervention, which is the human angle of it, when it comes, especially when it comes to the sensitivity towards the employee experience. There you cannot just fall, kind of depend on AI, because there your intellect, your human paranoia, your way of thinking has to be adopted. That's my final take. Yeah, thanks.
So, anybody here who wants to say anything on these topics? How many of you are going to walk away and look at some of the GPTs to help you all out? Okay, great. But there is something I want to tell you. Like I consult for Signify, which is Philips Lighting, and this company is completely dominated by Microsoft technologies. And frankly, they don't allow, you can try it, you cannot do anything except pick on Microsoft Copilot, etc. Only Microsoft technologies. And sometimes they are just not as good as Google technologies or, some of the GPTs there. So there is also some frameworks which are your organizational frameworks, which could be the reason why you cannot adopt what others are saying, right? But it's always interesting to see that virtually nearly all HR products, HR tools have now incorporated some form of AI in them. Yeah? Great.
All right, thank you so much. Give them a big round of applause, everyone. Thank you so much.